Hi friends, welcome back or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum. And in today's video, I'm joined by my husband Jake, the bookish drummer, because he wants some revenge for a video that we did together on his channel. So I had him blindly ranking 10 Stephen King books, and your ranking went pretty well until it didn't.
Yeah, go watch the video to find out that nuggetiness.
Yeah, so he wanted to get some revenge, and he has a stack of 10 books that he knows I've read. They're not King, they're just any books. I have absolutely no parameters. The only thing I think I'm going to ask you and have you tell me ahead of time is, are any of your 10 picks within the same series? So, like, do you have 2 or more books within the same series? Okay, so they're all different series. Are they all fantasy?
They're all 10 books that you have read.
Okay, so any genre. Okay, but different series.
Yes, and the idea behind a blind ranking is that I'm gonna reveal one book at a time, and she's gonna have to blindly rank it in the 1 through 10 spot.
Yeah.
So she could pick the first book, and she's like, oh, it's kind of a mid book, and she'll put it at 5. Or she gets a book that she knows she hates, she'll put it lower on the list. But it gets trickier as it goes on because you lose more and more spots.
Yeah, and it also is trickier because there are some books on the shelves that I know, like, I have read, and that I didn't like, but that they're still here because he liked them. And so I'm not sure, like, how many he's going to pull out are, like, books I love or books I didn't love so much. So there's all of that, too. So if you want to, feel free to play along in the comments. Get like your 1 through 10 in a comment and then like rank them for you as they come up without knowing what the other ones are. This may be a little bit tricky because not knowing like the author or anything, you may not have read them all. Whereas I have read them all, obviously, but it'll still be a fun experience for you if you want to play along.
Yeah, either base it off of like your enjoyment of the book or like if you want to, like how excited you are for it.
Yeah. Like, do you predict it'll be a 5-star read, or have you heard things that are going to make you like, okay, maybe it's not for me?
All right, so number 1, the very first book I pulled out is Gild.
Okay.
So where are you ranking this?
Ooh, it's going to be high. It's not like one of my all-time favorite books, but it is a solid 5-star book. I'm going to rank it number 3. I'm hesitating between 2 and 3, but I think you're going to have other things I like, so I'm going to say number 3. Also, we need your phone to track this.
That's what I'm just going to say. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah.
As we're doing
Start
it.
a text to me, 1 through 10, and put Gild in number 3.
All right, you ready for the next one?
I am ready.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Next one we have is Outlander, the first book.
This is another one I really, really like. I definitely 5-star read. Definitely something that was very addictive that I got through very quickly, and a solid 5. Would I say that I don't think I loved the series as much after book 1 as I did like now that I'm deeper in. This was one of my favorite books in the series, but I just didn't have the attachment to it yet. And also I read this before the show was out too. So there's that. I think I'm going to put this at number 4.
Okay.
Because I'm not mad about that. Like, Gild and Outlander, they're both very excellent books that I really, really enjoyed. But like, my love for Claire's character grew more as the series went on. And so I think for that reason, even though this is like a favorite series and a favorite character, I'm going to put it number 4.
Okay. Try to place these in order on the ground here.
Oh, sure.
Are you ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
Next one is Confessions.
Ooh, by Kanai Minato. Okay, this is a really good Japanese thriller that has some really shocking moments. Like, this is the first time I can ever remember audibly gasping in a book. But I also didn't like immediately 5-star it. It was one of those ones I gave like 4.5. And then like later after I thought about it, kind of bumped up my ranking. And I also haven't reread it recently. So for that reason, I'm happy putting it at number 5.
Okay.
Maybe 6 is better if you have a lot of books I like, but I'm gonna go 5 because there's bound to be some that I didn't like in there somewhere.
Why would I do that?
And I still have 1 and 2 open.
Why would I pick bad books?
Because you want revenge.
All right. Well, speaking of that, One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
So the question is, do we still own books that make me more angry than this one did?
I don't know.
Is this 9 or 10? So to explain, the premise of this is that you have a woman who was married, her husband goes missing, is presumed dead. She's moved on with her life and she's now engaged to someone else. And in the opening, you have her like meeting with, I think, at a restaurant with his family. Anyway, they're going on with their lives and she gets a phone call that her missing husband is actually alive. And so it's like her grappling with how to move forward in this mess of a situation. And I thought that was going to be a great premise that I really, really enjoyed. But basically what she should have done and what she should do is like super, super obvious with everything ingrained, even like past timeline, future timeline, like, and further to that, the reasoning she has for making the choices that she does is like ridiculous. Like I wanted it to be heartfelt and thoughtful and deep, and it's just not. And then her behavior throughout this whole thing is kind of abhorrent in some ways. And I just by the end, I was like, you don't deserve either one of them. Like it made me so angry. I threw the book across my bed. So with that said.
So it's not going number 1.
No. The only question is there something we owned that I hated more than this? You know what? This is one of the only books that made me so angry I threw it. So I'm going to say 10. Okay. If there's something I like less, then okay. But this one made me angry.
Okay. Going in at the number 10 spot.
Yeah. The more I talked about that one, the more I remembered that it was like, no, this sucked.
You ready for this next one?
Yeah.
We have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager.
Okay.
Your favorite by him.
Yes. Favorite author, favorite thriller by said author. This is a polarizing one for sure. Not everyone loves it, but I did. This is a thriller that I think I'd never been more shocked or duped by a thriller twist in my life. And I loved that experience. This is tricky because I've got the top pretty stacked. I'm gonna go number 2 and just risk that you don't have books I like super love. I'm keeping number 1 open because I suspect you're gonna have a certain book in the ranking. But this is definitely up there, so we'll say 2.
Oh, you have it at number 2.
Number 2.
Okay. Interesting.
Like I said, it's one of the books that like gave me a formative experience for a genre. Like I never have been more duped by a book than in that one, or never been more shocked by a twist, I guess.
So just to recap, you have filled the 2 through 5 spot and the number 10 spot.
Yes, which is dangerous.
Now we have 5 books left.
Okay.
And next up we have Escape.
Okay, by Ian Robb Webb. So this is a very solid indie horror set in an escape room. I like this quite a bit. I gave it 4.5 stars. But also, like, if I were to reread it, would I probably find, like, more holes in, like, some of the characters' backstories? Yes. But it's one of those, like, it's like a cheeseburger book. Like, it's so great in the moment. But then, like, if you really sit there and think about it and pick it apart, like, it'll probably, my rating would get a little lower, I think. But I loved it, and I loved the experience. I'm going to say, I want to leave number 6 open. So I'm going to say number 7, but I really enjoyed this.
Okay. All right. You ready for the next one?
Yes.
All right. We have Sword of Kaigen.
Okay. Well, this is an all-time favorite. So it's going to pain. No, it has to go number 1. It's going to pain me because I have a feeling you've got at least one Red Rising book in there somewhere. And that's going to have to be number 6 when it shouldn't. But this is an all-time favorite. And I love it so much. So this one the beginning of this one is rough, I will say. Like, I wasn't that invested until about a third of the way in. And then once the action started, I was really interested. But then you got hit with the heartfelt character stuff and, like, the tension in the story and just the emotion behind everything going on. And, like, this book was so cathartic that I was crying because of the catharsis. Like, this one has a scene in it that I read this like 5 years ago now, and like I can still vividly remember how I was feeling reading this book. And this is like something that really sticks with me. So yeah, it's got to go number 1, even though I'm going to be mad when Golden Sun comes up or something in the Red Rising series.
All right, so you've filled your number 1 spot.
Yeah, so I have 1 through 5 filled, which is dangerous.
You have number 6, 7, and 8. Oh, wait, no.
And 9.
I'm sorry. You have 6,
no,
8,
6, 8,
and
9.
Yeah. 6, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
Next up, we have The Bone Shard Emperor.
Okay, so this is book 2 in the trilogy. And it was my least favorite one in the trilogy, I think. So essentially in this, I do really like the setup of the series. I could tell that the author had a plan with where she was going and how she was introducing things. But then this book hit and we got a lot of plot things that I thought were kind of off the wall, like not really set up. And then the stuff she did set up wasn't like as explored as it could have or should have been, I thought. I really did not root for the romance in this one. Like, I was mad at that. I was like, this doesn't need to be here. And normally I am somebody who pretty much always roots for a romance if you give me a reason to. So I think that speaks to the lack of buildup to that specific romance. I mean, there's more than one romance in this series, so it's kind of hard to talk about. But the other romance I liked. Anyways, I was just really mad at the way the villain was handled in this too. Like, there was just a lack of explanation or build up to how everything with them went the way that it did. And so for that reason, I am very comfortable putting this at number 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. We have Bone Shard Emperor number 9.
Yes.
So you have number 6 and 8 left.
Yeah.
What do we have here? Okay. Next up, we have The Burning God.
This is an all-time favorite too, okay? This was one of those books, and it's probably one of the very few books where when I finished this, I just had to sit with the ending and think about it. That is a very rare experience for me. Usually when I read something, I'm very in it when I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, I'm on to the next one when it's over. But the way this one ended, I had literal chills and literal goosebumps when I read the ending, and I was in this state of, I just had to sit there, pause everything, and think about it for like 10, 15 minutes. And that's not something I experience very often. This is one that I have not reread ever. So it's been a long time, like 2020 when I read it. And I was brand new to fantasy, adult fantasy anyway, when I read this. So that probably colored my experience to make it better as well. So for that reason, what do I have, 6 and 8 left?
Yeah.
You're gonna have a Red Rising book though. But if you don't, I'm gonna be mad. So we'll put it at number 6.
Okay.
And then Golden Sun's gonna go to number 8. I just have a feeling.
You sure you want to do this?
Yes. Because you could pull out something I don't like. And then I'm gonna be equally mad. So
your number 8 spot
goes to
Carrie.
Oh, okay. I thought for sure Golden Sun was going to make an appearance, which was like, Red Rising is one of my all-time favorite series, and Golden Sun is like my favorite in this. But Carrie is a book that I did not like very much.
I was hoping you were going to put Burning God 8, hoping Red Rising was going to pop up, and they're like,
No. Okay, so with this, there's a lot of like, there's a sci-fi-ish element that the book takes a lot of time to explain like how this is possible. But this is the kind of story where like I did not care. I found that stuff very dry because it's like I didn't need the explanation to enjoy the story. And then further to that, I did not enjoy how the character work was done. So I thought a lot of the character motivations and character decisions were just lacking and unrealistic. Now, part of that is this is a product of its time, right? This is from the 70s. 80s, and I was obviously born in the 90s, so it's not something I relate to on that level. And like I grew up in the era of internet where like people are more educated about things that the characters in here are not educated about. So that's part of it for sure. But there were just like there was a character 180 that I did not buy into at all. I was like, I don't understand why this character is like flipping a switch and doing this. Like, this is so unbelievable. I did not have a good time with this, as you can tell. So 8, happily. Honestly, I would probably, like, if I had to fix this ranking now that I know what they all are, it would probably be below Bone Shard Emperor, but I'm not mad that it's 8.
All right, so to review your list here in ascending order, we have number 10 at One True Loves.
Yeah, that one made me mad.
We have number 9, Bone Shard Emperor. We have number 8, Carrie, which you just picked.
Yeah, so those two, if I'm ranking them now, knowing what all of them are, I would flip.
You would put Carrie above One True Loves?
Yeah, probably.
Interesting.
Probably.
We
Like
have-
I said, One True Loves made me angry. Like, very few books make me angry.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Number 7, we have Escape. Number 6, we have The Burning God.
which makes me a little bit sad. But,
Yeah. We have,
but I'm not wholly mad about it.
yeah, I'm sure you like The Burning God more than Confessions at number 5, though.
I think part of it is that, like, fantasy is my all-time favorite genre. And those are the stories that kind of stick with me and hit me more. So, like, as difficult as it is now, knowing, like, I have a thriller in number 2 and number 5 and having, like, one of my favorite fantasies in number 6, like, if I just acknowledge that, like, if I'm going on a more objective level and not really considering my fantasy preference as much, like, I'm not as mad about it. And also, there are things in that book that could be done better, even though I loved it. It was one of those things where, like, the book had obvious flaws, but I loved it so much that I overlooked the flaws. But if I'm thinking, like, more objectively, like, okay, no, I had, like, a formative experience with a thriller that's higher on the ranking, and, like, there are things in that book that maybe make it less logical and, you know, lower for most people. Like, I'm not super angry about it, but also it hurts my heart a little bit.
Okay. So number 5 was Confessions. Number 4, you had Outlander. Number 3, you had Guild.
Yeah.
Number 2, you had The House Across the Lake. And then your number 1 spot, Sword of Kaigen.
Yeah, so I'm not really mad about this ranking. The main one that hurts my heart is Burning God being so low. But then also, like, we've had that discussion where, like, objectively I can justify it, so I'm not angry. And then the main thing I would switch is my 8 and 9. I'd flip those.
I was really hoping you were going to put The Burning God at number 8, assuming there was going to be a Red... I specifically didn't pick Red Rising because I knew in the back of your mind, like, this is coming.
It's coming. And I was. You did have me, but, like, on the other hand, like, I knew that there was a possibility that it wouldn't be there.
And it would have been really funny to have Carrie over The Burning God.
No, that would have just made me even more angry. So I'm so glad that I did that the way I did it.
Well, you did the list better than me because I messed up on my list. But yeah, you did much better than I did.
Yeah. So your revenge didn't pan out as well as you wanted.
It was still fun.
Yeah.
I think this is a fun little game to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much prep and it's kind of random and I think it's fun.
I will say, I think it's easier in the sense of, like, even though you did worse than I did, like, I think it's easier when you know it's all one author, because then there are only so many possibilities you can pull out. I think it's a little bit harder when you have no clue. Like, this could be any genre, any book. And like I said, we have books that I've read that I don't enjoy that much still here because he loved them. So I really had no clue what you were going to pull out.
Maybe next time we can be a bit more specific for you. We can do like an SFF version.
Okay. Well, I mean, a lot of this was SFF. But I do think, like, that would make it harder because, like, I do have the experience of, like, I can objectively justify having, like, my favorite thriller above, like, some of my favorite SFF because objectively, like, it makes more sense, or, like, my experience was very formative. So I'm not mad, but I think, like, if it was all SFF, it might be harder.
Yeah, that's why I want to do it.
Okay.
And we definitely have, it's harder for me to find like thrillers and romance that you don't like because you're more easily can get rid of them.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of SFF that you don't love.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be more fun.
Yeah, you're right. I think like with contemporary romance specifically and thrillers, it's like a one and done. Like I'm less likely to reread those, so I'm less likely to hang on to them. And with romance, like he has no interest in reading them, so once I've read them, they're out. Unless it's a fantasy romance where it's a series and I want to keep the series and like I'm in the middle of it or rereading or whatever. But contemporary romance, it's like read and done.
Same thing with thrillers most of the time.
Well, thrillers, yes and no, because there are a lot that stick around because you haven't read them yet. So like we have, you know, there's a few I can think of right now. Like we have 3 Hours that I read and liked. We have Shutter Island and Aurora. We have, what else have I read here?
But generally, like if we both read it and it's not an all-time favorite for one of us, we're getting rid of it.
Yeah. So let me know down below in the comments if you played along, what your ranking was, how it turned out for you in terms of your taste, and what did you think of how it turned out for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you want to on your way out, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.